Let's take a look at this problem. We got 5 over 3 plus 2i. Now whenever you have an imaginary part down your denominator and you have both the real and imaginary, then you want to multiply the top and bottom by the conjugate of the bottom. Now what the conjugate means is the first part's the same and the last part's the same. So 3, 3, 2i, 2i. But the sign in the middle is different. So if this is a plus, this will be a minus. And whatever you multiply by the bottom, you have to multiply by the top. So up on top, we're going to have 5 times 3 minus 2i. Now, a nice part about conjugates is all you have to do is multiply your first parts together and your last parts. So 3 times 3 and 2i times negative 2i. Well, up on top, we're going to use the distributive property. I'm going to take 5 times 3 and 5 times negative 2i. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times negative 2i is negative 10i. And down below, 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and I times I is I squared. Now we never want I squared, so we're going to immediately rewrite that. The I squared we can replace with negative 1, which then gives us 15 minus 10i over negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4, which gives us 15 minus 10i over 13. Now you always want to write it in standard form. The standard form says you split apart your real part from imaginary. So I'll put the 15 over 13 minus 10 over 13 with an I to the side. And that's our answer. Now this one we can do in the calculator. We got 5 over 3 plus 2i. And the trick to fractions in your calculator is if you got more than a single number, single variable, single I in top or bottom, you put parentheses around that part. We got a 5 here, so we don't have to worry about that. But down below here, we're going to put parentheses around that when we plug it in. Okay, so I'm going to have 5 divided by beginning parentheses 3 plus 2i. So 3 plus 2, and I is second decimal. Closing parentheses, inner. Now we'll get decimals, and we don't want any decimals, so we do math, inner, inner. Math, inner, inner will change any decimals to fractions. So math, enter, enter. And didn't like something there. 5, try it again. 3 plus 2, and I think that's a problem with this emulator now that I'm remembering it. So I've had this happen before. Enter. And then math, enter, enter. Yeah. Your calculator should work on that. Should. It's key. I don't think I've ever had a graphing calculator that didn't work on, except for the emulator. So I got that. If I typed in that decimal, let's see what happens there. 1.153846 and then math, enter, enter. 15/13. Yeah, 15/13. It could be maybe I'm not in the right mode. Let me press mode. And now it's set up for A plus BI, so I'll do second mode to get out of that. Like I said, I think I'm pretty sure it's a flaw with the emulator here. You should work in your calculator. Trust me.